welcome, welcome, welcome. It's I should say it's a very, very, very hot day right now in Toronto, and I am so excited to bring you guys this show again for another week. I must say it's been a bit, it's been a bit easy doing this show because my guests seem to just all love me. They all say okay when I ask them to come on my show. Those I ask. And for others who've actually initiated it, I mean, I've been getting some really good guests. And today I have a phenomenal guest on with me. I'm going to tell you all about her in just a little bit. But we like to warm up the people, get them on. So when you come on, let us know where you're representing. I'll just give you a little hint. If you in an island or anywhere around the world and you use Digicel, you probably want to put your country where you're representing in the link below, so we know that you're on and we know that you're listening and where you're listening from. It's Cacoa Tea, and it's Saturday. It's May the 26th. Yeah, the 26th. I just actually came back from my son's. My son performed at a competition, a dance competition. He wants to be in everything, so everything I can put him in, I put him in. But I had to rush over to be here with you guys, start bang on time like I love to do. And so we're getting people coming in. So let us know where you're representing in the comments. All my guests' social media handles are always above. So if you just look above the link, you will see all every single guest, the social media handles, and of course it will also be on the podcast once it gets uploaded in 24 hours. I see, okay, who's coming on? I see Shola is on. Hi, Shola, how are you? So folks are coming in, and I want to just say, special good afternoon to everyone who's locked in, and thank you so very much for joining us. My guests, you ready?
Yes, of course.
Are you drinking your Cacoa tea?
Yes, I am. And like I told you, right, representing Dominica, YT Kubuli National Trail. Yeah.
Ooh, look at that. Representing Dominica to the
How come your mug's not branded, Jay?
Well, somebody actually promised to do one for me. I was not going to do a branded mug. I've had this thing about just plain stuff, like plain white and plain black and plain. So I was on this tip that I'm just going to just hold on to a white mug. Then people started messaging me and they're like, hey, would you be selling any mugs for your show? And I was like, hey, hello, I can make a money, yeah, man. So I started, so somebody actually approached me and said, hey, I'd like to make you a mug. So I'm still waiting on that to happen. So we'll see once I get my mug, I'll be spotting my Cacoa tea mug pretty soon. And I'm actually thinking of, going into the Cacoa tea business, so.
Really? I have a supplier for Cacoa for you. Yeah, up in Vegas we have enough, right?
Well, I'm thinking of doing my own field, my own plantation.
Jay, I don't see you as a farmer. I love you. I know you can do anything you put your head to, but I don't see you as a farmer.
Really, the amount of Haitians that in Dominica, I'll be fine. I'll be just fine. As long as I know how to delegate and ask for where's my money. And I'll be
I can see that.
I don't think this 10 cocoa pods only made this. So I think I'll be just fine doing that. But we can always collaborate. Collaboration is good.
Absolutely.
There might be times when I can't supply because demand might be high. So it's good to have.
Of course, have other options, right?
Of course.
We'll make it work.
Today I have a phenomenal woman on with me. I have the CEO of Digicel, Dominica, Mrs. Nikima Jno.Baptiste is here with me. And I think those of you who probably just coming on, you're probably saying, how does she know all them people there? How does she how did she like? I don't even know how I know all them people there, you know. But I like to introduce my guests and let you guys know how I met my guests. So we have Gemma's coming on. Gemma just said hi. So people are going to be coming on, and just let us know where you're hailing from. Or let us know where you're connected from. But as I was saying, I like to let people know how I know my guests, where I met my guests, how me and my guests connected. And I have known Nikima, let's just say, all my life.
Forever. And maybe even a day on top of that, forever.
Oh my God, like you probably knew me before. Like you knew me before I even knew myself. Right?
Yeah.
Because you are older than me. But Nikima actually was born next door to where I live. Well, my family home.
No, Jael, you were born next door to where I live. I was born first.
Yeah, so we were neighbors as kids growing up. Nikima left very young to move to Canada, and quite a few years later, I followed suit. But we literally like could see through each other's windows and doors. That's how close.
Maybe even touch each other through the window. Like, I mean, it was that close, right?
I mean, I knew what Nikima's mom was cooking when she was cooking. You know, I'm keeping it 100. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That is how long I've known Nikima.
Jay, do you remember when we used to play Kins? Do you remember Kins?
Yes.
That was one of my favorite games, and nobody plays it anymore. But it just died.
You know my favorite memory of you guys? You used to always play Murder, She Wrote. Oh my God, that was we were raised Pentecostal, so we were not supposed to be dancing. And I'm in my room, you know?
Doing the vocal, yeah.
Yes.
It was fun. Especially when I used to come back home, like after on Christmas or March break, or even the summer when I used to come home for the couple months during the summer. That was fun. Yeah, some good memories.
Nikima, and of course, I moved to Canada, and I started living with Nikima's sister's mom, which was just like so weird. And then we reconnected there, and then she said she was moving back to Dominica, and I was like,
why? Along with absolutely everybody else, right?
Like, why are you moving back to Dominica? Like, you got problems? You know, like, what is going on? And she moved back to Dominica, and funny, strangely enough, I followed suit a few years later. I followed suit, and Nikima's done a lot for herself being in Dominica, and we'll get to know her. I mean, even moving back to Dominica, although we were not friends per se then, like we knew each other, but we were not connected on those levels. And we ended up being in the same circle, and we ended up becoming very good friends, and we've been friends ever since. I mean, when Nikima, if she visits Canada now and she doesn't come and like she doesn't ill me out, like I will like cheer her up.
Yeah, it was in my last visit in Toronto that we agreed to this, right? That we had that negotiation.
That's right. So I was like, yeah, so you coming on my show? Like, when are you coming on my show? And she's like, we can work it out and stuff. And she is here. Nikima is an enthusiastic communicator, poised, convincing, and capable of projecting friendliness and warmth, and of course, motivating other people. Nikima has a strong sense of urgency, initiative, and drive to really get things done correctly, with emphasis on working with and through people in the process. She understands people very well and uses that understanding effectively in motivating and persuading others to act. Very impatient for results and for achievement of her goals. Nikima is a self-starter and has a sufficient self-confidence to make decisions under pressure. Those decisions will be carefully considered, and she will use the ideas and advice of people to help to get the process along. At ease and self-assured with groups or in making new contacts, she's Miss Friendly, like nobody would believe. Nikima is affable and extroverted, and is always selling in a general sense. So she toujours has something to sell. She has particular aptitude for training and bringing out the best in others and takes pride in contributing to the business success in that way. As she can delegate both authority and details carefully and with close follow-up. She will apply a little pressure to get results. And of course she does it so persuasively in a friendly and helpful manner. You don't even know you're getting called out. Nikima learns and reacts quickly and works at a faster than average pace, and she handles details quickly and accurately, but will become less effective if required to work continuously with repetitive tasks. So don't give her too many of the same things. She's not about that life. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome on Cacoa Tea, my friend I've known for more than my life, Miss Nikima Roy Jno.Baptiste, the CEO, that is the Chief Executive Officer of Digicel, Dominica. Hi,
Nikima. Hey, Jay. Hi, everybody.
Hey. Hi. Okay, we got some people coming on, and just remember to, Father Shapless is on, another neighbor.
Oh, Father Shapless, yeah, another neighbor from Vegas. Hi.
Yes, so Father Shapless is on right now. Father Shapless is in Ottawa, so hi to you, Father Shapless, for being on. Nikki, I like to start my show, every single show, by asking who is the person behind that person, or who do you consider yourself to be? Who is Nikima?
Okay, so it's difficult for me to talk about myself. I much prefer talking about things or talking about other people. I find it difficult to talk about myself. So definitely putting me on the spot, Jay, but I expected that. I would expect nothing less from you. Who am I? I consider myself to be humble. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I'm a professional. And that basically sums it all up in one. If anybody follows me on social media, they would know that I have a hashtag Phoenix Rising. And I look at that to be exactly what I am, just rising from the ashes to excel and to achieve and to be beautiful with all the flaws, all the, the history and the drama and everything else, but definitely just like a phoenix rising to the top.
And tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Where were you raised? Because I threw out a few things, but you might have a different perspective on things. So where were you raised? And
I was born in Dominica in Vegas, like you said, but I was adopted when I was 6. So you mentioned I moved up to Toronto. My aunt, my dad's sister, adopted me when I was 6, and I became a Canadian citizen when I was 8. I grew up in Toronto in Etobicoke, the west end of Toronto. I went to French immersion schools throughout, and then I moved to the east end, to Scarborough, and lived with my sister and her husband for a period of time before making the bold move. It wasn't exactly favored at the time. Everybody thought I was crazy, and they didn't really understand it, but the bold move to move back to Dominica, and I came back to Dominica in 2001.
And what type of person would you say you were growing up?
A problem child. Yeah, I was definitely the terrorist of the family. I didn't like to do my homework. I didn't like to read. I didn't like to listen. I didn't obey very well. I was definitely a problematic child growing up, and I'm sure my mom looks back on that and kind of wonders what happened to transition me to the person I am today, because I'm definitely they don't mesh. It's a complete 180 from what I was when I was growing up.
What exactly brought you back to Dominica? Everybody thought you were crazy, as you rightfully said. When you said going back, and especially at the time, I don't think there was a lot going on in Dominica, and you just decided, I'm gonna go. What prompted
that? Jay, I was fed up. I was tired. I wasn't doing anything constructive with my life. I finished school. I was working, partying a lot, hanging out with friends a lot, spending a lot of money, not doing anything that would be considered destructive behavior, but then not anything that would be considered constructive behavior. And I was just tired. And I felt as if I had missed out on a part of my life. by not growing up with my biological parents, by not growing up with my biological siblings. And I had a longing just to be with my family. And when I initially came back to Dominica, Dominica was in the resting ground. That wasn't my final destination. It was to come back home, spend some time with my family, but to move on to the USVIs where my dad was, and go to school. So the initial plan was I came back in December, and I actually flew on New Year's Eve, December of 2001. And it was supposed to come back, spend a couple of months, relax, and then go to school the following September in the USVIs. And as everybody can see, that's not exactly how things worked out, but that was the plan.
And you got to Dominica and you stayed.
Yeah, I did.
What was the first thing that caused you to say, I'm staying?
It wasn't a conscious decision. I didn't wake up one day and said, you know what, I'm not going back, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It was an evolution of my life here over a period of time. And initially when I came back, I was still the problem child I was in Toronto. I was still hanging out, going out a lot, partying a lot, and those kind of different things. Until I decided I wanted to get a job, and that's when things started kind of settling down, and I started finding my way and finding my path and my future. But it wasn't a conscious decision. There was at no point did I just say, this is it, I'm staying here, and this is what I'm going to do. It literally just evolved for me.
Tell us, can we talk about your personal life?
It depends how personal, and I know you, so I.
Well, you see, the problem with interviewing you as a friend is that
you know everything.
I know everything, so it's kind of hard to what exactly should I ask, and what is off bounds, and what is
I'll let you go as far as you want to go, Jay. If you go too far, I'll bring you back in. But go ahead.
Okay.
You're free.
Okay, cool. Can you tell us a little bit about your immediate family, like your family?
Okay, so I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
I'm married. My husband, Jno.Baptiste, better known as Bambi. The whole world knows him.
Bambi!
Yeah. And I have a 10-year-old son, Devontae. So that's my immediate family.
And take us a little bit out of that, your siblings and stuff.
Yeah, I have a number of siblings here in Dominica and abroad, and they're all extremely successful in their own right, in their own space. And of course, my mom and dad. And yeah, you're not taking me there, Jay. Now I see where you're going. You're not taking me there at all. Yeah, you're not taking me there at all. So, all of us, what's amazing is that I do have a lot of brothers and sisters. We have 12. There are 12 of us. We have a football team, yeah? And all of us are considered to be successful in our own right, in our own fields. And it's amazing and absolutely phenomenal to have such a huge support system. Yeah, because we're good. All of us are really good.
And I must say, I can, because normally when people come from a large family, and especially you guys were not all the same mom, it's very hard to be close to your siblings in the sense of, yet you guys don't seem to have that problem. Like everybody seems so close.
It was a conscious decision by all of us to exclude the external factors and focus on our relationships. And as we all grew older, that wasn't the case when we were younger. But as we all grew older and we had kids, and the importance for our kids to know their families and their cousins and their aunts and uncles and whatnot, we've created this network and this bond that I believe is truly unbreakable. But it was a conscious decision by all of us to bond together and rally together to support each other in different ways. And I had a really traumatic experience a couple years back, and my siblings literally dropped everything to come to me. Literally just dropped everything to come to me. And it's great. It's absolutely phenomenal to have that kind of relationship with them. And it's not every single one of us, Jay. There are a couple of us that are, on the outskirts and stuff, but the core of us are absolutely, for the most part, yeah, it's the majority of us, you know what I mean? And our kids are great together, and we talk regularly. So it's phenomenal.
What are some of the most important things to you?
My family is definitely the most important thing to me. And I think that comes from the whole adoption thing, that leaves, regardless of the circumstances, there's going to be lingering feelings about that. So definitely family is important to me. My faith is important to me. And that is, it's difficult for me to explain because I don't consider myself to be a religious person, but I have a tremendous amount of faith. And again, coming out of the experiences I've had, it's faith and belief that there's a reason things are happening. Even if you may not understand it today, there's a reason things are happening. So my faith is important to me. The next one is not necessarily career. It's not necessarily success. It's not necessarily achievement. Maybe you could phrase it as impact. Making an impact, I think, is important to me. Making a positive impact and just feeling that making it through everything I've made it through has a purpose. So the impact and what I can do with myself is important to me, if that makes sense.
That it does make a lot of sense. I want to thank you before, because I want to ask you about your mentors. But before I ask you about your mentors, I want to thank you for being one of these people who actually believed in me. Like I felt, I'm gonna be quite honest, I felt for a huge part of my time in Dominica, I felt stifled. I felt like I could not get to where I needed to get to because there was always someone or something trying to block me, And I remember when I came to you and I spoke to you about, the 767 Girls Rock, and you were just like, and like you didn't even wait for me to like continue, and even on the night when we launched on Digicel Play, you showed up, and you spoke, and you had like all these catastrophes were happening around you that night. And you were just like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it because my vehicle is like tilted to the side.
God, my Jeep almost rolled down my hill, Jay. Like I've never parked in my driveway since then, eh? Like I refuse to park there since then, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, and you showed up, and you've always encouraged me, and sometimes you don't even know, or people don't even understand when somebody's actually feeling discouraged. And then the odd times when you reach out, or even sometimes the odd things you say, although they may seem odd or far-fetched or out there, but they've really meant a lot to me, as an individual, and as an entrepreneur myself. I've always wanted so much more, and I just felt for the longest time, and I remember telling you, I'm ready to get out of Dominica. Like I've had enough, because I just felt like I was not getting that break that I needed, and I consider myself to be a person with a lot of potential, but it wasn't my time. I look at it as that. And I just want to thank you, for believing in 767 Girls Rock. I'm gonna come and do my 767 Girls Rock, just so you know, again. But it's not. It has not stopped there. But because I would not say you sort of mentored me, but I looked up to you for inspiration and stuff. Who were some of the people that you looked up to, to help you to get to your full potential?
So before we even get into that, I want to just make a couple comments on what you've just said, right? Thank you for acknowledging. Yeah, it's good to hear that I've made an impact. Yeah, and especially as I just said, it is important to me. And I think more of us need to give more people the chance. When you have a platform, you need to utilize it to uplift and drive and develop. But even further to that, as a woman in business, Yeah, we need to support women in business. And I'm a woman in a predominantly male field. Yeah, I went to a meeting recently with approximately 20 people, and I was with the only woman at the table. So we need to support other women to be able to develop in whatever way, whether that's a nice word, a good word, an opportunity, a chance, a foot in the door, whatever the case may be. If the opportunity is there, we need to share it and we need to pass it on. So Jael, anything I can do to assist you, I'll always do that because I believe in you and I believe in what you're doing. And I do hope you bring 767 Girls Rock back. I think it's important. And I think right now in the recovery of Hurricane Maria, there are a lot of people that are feeling despondent, that are feeling lost, that are not sure what their next steps are. And they need to know that there are opportunities for them to do bigger and better things. So I look forward to you bringing it back. So on to mentors. Who are my mentors? So one of them would be Sam Raphael. When I first came to Dominica, I was working with Perry Bellet on the ecotourism conference or something like that. And he hosted the first conference at Jungle Bay. This was when it was in its construction phase, and I met Sam then. And Sam has been a huge support for me throughout my entire life in Dominica, coming back, and in my career. He brought me into the YT Kubuli Entrepreneurs Levee. He's been a voice on the other end of a phone, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's advice, whether it's just talking, whatever the case may be. Sam has been there throughout my entire life in Dominica, and I'm forever grateful for him. And he, I think, demonstrates the epitome of resilience. His business was completely devastated in Erica, and he has gotten back up and he's rebuilding. And there were impacts following Maria, and he's gotten back up and he's rebuilding. And I'm super excited to know that they're going to be opening up next year, and I can't wait for it. So Sam is definitely one of them. Another one would be Richard Stanton. Richard was the CEO of Digicel, and he recruited me. And I had to have a lot of faith in Richard because he was taking me from tourism, which is what I had done for 10, 12 years in Dominica. That's what I studied in school. That's what I knew. And he took me out of tourism and gave me an opportunity to delve into telecommunications. And 3 years later, I'm the CEO of Digicel. So definitely Richard. And there are two others that I look up to. One is Rob Mayo-Smith. He was my regional CEO. He was the one that appointed me to my role. And he saw the potential in me to do what was being asked. And I'm grateful for him, and he's back. He's in Trinidad now, and I'm so happy he's back, and I'm so happy he's still part of my life. And then another one is Jack Burke. So Jack Burke is the regional CEO for the South OECS. And when I was appointed to my role, Digicel assigned a mentor, somebody who's been through it and knows it. And Jack is that mentor. And again, Jack, I just spoke to him this afternoon before I got on this call with you. And Jack is just always there, asking how are things going, and coaching and centering and balancing, which is so, so, so important. So those are some of the people, and I called 4 names, but there's so many other people that have influenced my life and developed me and assisted me. And I could, Jael, when I tell you I could go through a list of people, it's never ending, because a lot of people have touched me and assisted me in reaching and attaining the heights I have. And I'm grateful.
Awesome. Just so you know, if you're just tuning in right now, if you've missed the start of the show, it's okay. The feed will remain on my page, and you can always go back and view it from the start. In addition to that, if you probably don't have the time to actually sit and view, you can listen in 24 hours. We do upload to, of course, my podcast, which is available on iTunes. It's available on Castbox, and it's also available on my website. That is www.jaeljoseph.com/plog. That's plug as in podcast log. So you can always go back on there. And I know I'm weird. And you can always go back on there and listen. I met someone very recently and said to me, "Oh, I listened to your podcast, and I actually got to know some interesting things about you that I didn't know." I was like, "Okay, well, I guess." But I'm really grateful to everybody who actually listen on my site. And when you do listen on my site, I would appreciate if you leave a comment, leave a like, say something, say something so that I know that you're there. Although I kind of see who listens and who doesn't. But yeah. Something. So you can always go back on there and listen to all of the shows if you've missed any, or if it's your very first time coming on and you probably want to listen to past shows, you can always do so on the site. It's available there for you. And we're here with Nikima. Of course, she is the CEO of Digicel Dominica. And Nikima, you've had a few roles before your current position. That includes, of course, you mentioned tourism, and then you held the head of marketing of Discover Dominica Authority, and then all of a sudden you're in sales. I mean, I know you said Richard, but what makes you that you could do this?
Okay, so when Richard approached me, I actually started Digicel as the customer care operations manager. So it was customer care. And I remember having that exact conversation with Richard when he started talking to me about Digicel. I'm like, I don't know anything about telecommunications, like WTF, you know what I mean? And he was like, he said that what was important was that I had the necessary skill sets and I had the necessary or the appropriate attitude. They could teach me everything else. Yeah. So one of the great things about Digicel is that they're looking for the right people with the right skill sets in terms of the training and in terms of the technicalities and those type of different things. In some of the positions, such as customer care and sales, you can learn as you go along. So I started off in customer care operations, and I was terrified to leave what I had known, right? And I had a great home at DDA. I loved what I was doing. I loved the team I was working with. I felt we were making some great progress and so on. So I was terrified. And I remember just before I signed my contract, it was at Tao. You remember Tao, right? Yeah, it was at Tao. And I went across and it's just like, yeah, here's your contract. Go ahead and sign. And I'm here and I'm about to sign. And I look at him, I'm like, Richard, if you tell me everything's going to be okay, I'll sign. And he said, yeah, things are going to be okay. And he laid out a 5-year plan for me about what I was going to do, what I was going to achieve within 5 years. And he was right. Wow. So it was faith and belief in him that he believed in me.
Mm-hmm. Wow, we got a few people coming on. We have Martina Roy saying hi, hail, nice seeing you, Nikki.
Hey.
We also have Shannon. Shannon de la Plaine, that's her name on there, all the way in France. Lovely seeing you, Nikki. Clea, of course, is on.
Hey,
Clea doesn't miss. Saying love you, and your hubby sending some heart eyes. I don't know what that
means. Thank you, sweetheart.
I don't know if that means like you're looking good, like a plate of food. I don't know, because in his language, it means so many different things.
We'll just say it means love. Okay, Jay, leave it alone. Leave him alone. Yeah.
You recently became the first female CEO of Digicel here in Dominica. Some might say the youngest. Tell us how you felt when you offered the position.
Terrified. Like terrified. Scared. This is the position I hold is important, and I didn't realize how important until after Maria. I always knew it was important, but it was really after Maria that I felt the weight of responsibility. But when they first offered it to me, I was absolutely terrified. And it was Rob that I had that conversation with, because he was the one that offered it to me, right? And again, it's having others believe in your ability and you believing in your ability as well. your capabilities. But I was scared, and there's still some days I wake up scared, but I'm here and I'm doing it. And it's important to note I'm not doing it alone. I have an absolutely phenomenal team with me. At my senior management level, I have Daryl Thomas. We have Glenford Sejan, Rob Lyons, Calvia Timothy, and Coldrex Gordon at our SMT level. And then below that, we have some great supervisors, including Dion, Tasha, Jeff, Sean, and then we have a phenomenal team as well. So it's not just me, it's an entire team effort that's making Digicel so phenomenal. And it's my team that's making me look good and succeed so well. So it's not just me.
Good. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. As a female CEO, what are some of the challenges that you face? I'm more interested in knowing about, being a woman in that sort of field or in your line of work. What are some of the challenges that you face?
To be very honest with you, Jael, the fortunate thing with Digicel is that Digicel has a number of female CEOs across their business. So within the company, I don't have too many difficulties. You'd recall that Vanessa Slowly was our group CEO until just recently. My regional CEO is a woman as well, Sinead O'Markey. So we've got phenomenal support, and there's no differentiation within the business of whether you're male or female, yeah? Within Dominica, there was one instance that I went to meet with an official, and this gentleman called me little lady. It's a professional meeting, and he's referring to me as little lady and as darling and those type of different things. And that was, I believe, the first time that I really felt slighted because I was a woman. And I walked out, and I had one of my SMT members with me, and I walked out, and he was just like, Nikki, breathe, Nikki, breathe, Nikki, breathe. Because I was so upset. I was so upset that he was so condescending and so disrespectful and wouldn't demonstrate the respect of the position I hold. So even if you don't respect me, respect the position that I hold. But outside of that one instance, I haven't felt challenged per se because I'm a woman. And that could be because of two things. One, my mentality. Yeah. I'm sitting at the table. I know what I bring to the table. You're not going to make me feel or think different. Yeah. And two, in Dominica, there are a number of females in leadership positions, in top leadership positions. Yeah, Bertilia McKenzie and Dominic is another one. There are a number of country managers of insurance companies that are leading. And within the government, we have a number of female ministers. We have a number of PSs. So I think that Dominica, I'm hoping I'm right, that Dominica is a little bit more advanced than the rest of the world in terms of recognizing that women are equals in the professional world. And in telecommunications, Jay, to be honest with you, I haven't felt slighted. And again, it could be my mentality that I just, I block it. Yeah, it doesn't faze me because I'm there for a reason, and it's not because I'm a woman. It's not because of anything else except the qualifications that I bring. So I don't know.
You are known to be very persuasive. Like anybody that probably talks to you, she can sell sand to the beach. And you actually know how to apply pressure in a friendly manner. How do you do it? Or can you even provide us with a situation, or give us a situation where you were faced with, a challenge in breaking down somebody? How do you break it down?
I don't think I can give you a specific example, right? But I think what's important is to remember to treat people the way you want to be treated. Yeah. If people don't respond well to you shouting and screaming in their face, they respond better to having a conversation and finding that middle ground. And what's always important is win-win, right? If I win and you lose, That's not a good outcome. If you win and I lose, that's not a good outcome. It has to be win-win. So I think it's important to try and treat people the way you want to be treated. And the other thing is, never ask of anybody else something that you can't ask of yourself, right? And that was a lesson I learned years ago. I was working at Woodbine Racetrack and Slots. Yeah, I used to work in a casino, and I was a hostess in one of the bar areas, and there was chips of paper from the racetrack on the floor, and I bent down and picked it up. And my manager came by. He's like, no, don't do that. I was like, why though? Like, Jael, they were littered. You know what I mean? I'm like, the place needs to tidy up and whatnot. He's like, I'm not going to ask you to do anything I wouldn't do myself, and I wouldn't do that because there are other people that are supposed to do that. So call them and they can do it. And I've kind of kept that as a base for moving forward in life. If you're not prepared to do it, don't ask somebody else to do it. If you're not prepared to buy it, don't ask somebody else to buy it. If you're not prepared to sell it, don't ask somebody else to sell it. So I think that is a fundamental part of anything you do. If you're not going to ask it of yourself, you should not ask it of somebody else. Do you agree with that one?
I agree with you. I agree with you. Your new position as the CEO of Digicel would, of course, come with its challenges, I'm sure. But I don't think nothing compares to having to deal with a major devastation to the island soon after starting your role. How did you feel when you saw the destruction of Dominica?
So when I got out of the house I was in, and I got outside, I picked up my cell phone and I got outside. Literally, Jael, my knees buckled under me. Yeah. And I opened up my phone and I called Rob, the same Rob. And all I could tell him was, it's bad. And he's asking, how are you? How's your family? How does it look? And I'm like, it's bad. All I could tell him is it's bad. And I'm just like, send people, send help. We need help. And then we got down to our office and we started cleaning up, and it became Hotel Digicel. And so that was day one. Day two, our service gets restored, starts getting restored and whatnot. And I'm walking from our office on Bath Road to the financial center, and somebody stops me and says to me, so when's Digicel coming back up now? And day two. And I looked around. Yeah. I looked around and I said, we're working on it and we'll get there. And I went to the financial center and I did whatever it is I needed to do. And I got back to the office and I met Clem, and I started to cry. I cried and I cried and I cried hard. At that point, it was a sheer realization of the responsibility that came on it, communication. Yeah. And it's not that I didn't know that before, but it was tough. It was really, really tough. It was hard. Being a mom, I had my son to take care of. Being a wife, I had my husband to take care of. I had 55 employees to take care of, and I had a country that I need to get communication back onto. But what I would say is that from day one following Maria, the entire Digicel family across all 31 markets were with us to support us on the phone. By day two, there was a helicopter in with Rob Lyons, Rob Mayo-Smith, Jack Burke, and a number of riggers and technicians that came in to support us. And they've been there with us throughout the entire process. So as much as it was scary, as much as it was overwhelming, I was never alone. Again, coming back to that Digicel family, that Digicel team that really supports you and supports a country to getting back. But it's been a rough road. My first year as a CEO, it's been difficult, but thank God we've made it through.
Wow, take us through a day of the boss lady. Start us off from the morning.
Okay, so typically I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm out of the house by 6:30. I'm at my office by 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I start with a blank sheet of paper, and then a pink highlighter date goes at the top, and then my list starts for the day. So between 7 and 8, it's catch up on emails, make my list, organize myself, make my coffee before I leave the house. That's an important thing. Travel mug of coffee to work. I cut myself down to only 1 cup of coffee. So then I sit at my desk and typically get caught up on emails, plans for the day, and those type of different things. By 8 o'clock, when the day starts, it starts with some joking with the guys in the office. Typically try and touch base with the technical team, who are on the other side. We have an open concept in our office. So as people come in, you get the chance to say good morning and touch base and joke a little bit and whatnot. But then, yeah, it's on to calls and meetings, and on the road, I try and get out. I'm not doing a very good job of that right now. I used to be much better at it when I wasn't the CEO and when I was in sales. So I want to do that a little bit more. But yeah, what I try and do, Jay, during the course of the days, obviously you have a lot of meetings, right? You have a number of meetings, a number of catch-ups and those kind of different things. But I do try and get out from behind the desk, behind the computer, and touch base with my different teams throughout the course of the day. And typically, if you and I have to exchange more than 2 emails about the same topic, or if we have to exchange more than 2 WhatsApp about the same topic, I'll pick up the phone and give you a call and have that conversation with you, rather than just going back and forth on email. Yeah, but I love working in my office. I love working with my teams, and I like the open concept that you can see, and you could walk over to a desk. You don't have to go through a door or any of those things to have that kind of conversation.
You recently met the former president of the United States. I want to know about the experience, and tell us also, you guys have collaborated with the Clinton Foundation. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, I want to know how you felt when you met him, like what was going through your head and all of that. Were you like fully groupified?
Yes. Completely. And I have a funny story about that too. So, okay, so when I met him, I was a complete groupie, right? After the meeting, and he is such a soft-spoken man. Jael, he speaks so softly, but he's hilarious. Like, he was cracking jokes with us, like when I met him. I am so humbled, and I'm so proud, and I'm so absolutely amazed at the opportunity to have met him, right? So after I met him, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that, Dennis O'Brien, our chairman, called to see how it's going, because Dennis and President Clinton have been collaborating for a number of years. So he called to touch base with me to see how it went, and he was with our group CEO at the time, Alex Matushka. So Alex gets on the phone with me, and Alex is like, I heard you met Bill, and I'm like, yeah, I was a complete groupie. I couldn't even get words out. And then Alex is like, okay, well, I'm going to call you Groupie Nikki from now on. And that was my first conversation with our new CEO, but it was hilarious. And of course, these type of different things, again, put you at ease and make you feel like a family, you know what I mean? So it's not all glass and steel and those kind of different things. But meeting President Clinton was a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I've actually had the honor of meeting him twice in the last number of months. When he came to Dominica, Digicel was represented at the press briefing, and then I had a few words with him at that point, as well as visiting with him when he visited the Soufriere School. And although the Soufriere School is not one of the schools that Digicel has undertaken and committed to the Clinton Global Initiative Action Network to restore, we are restoring a number of schools in Dominica. And again, that's part of the philanthropic spirit of Digicel, and led by our chairman. Our chairman through the Digicel Foundation has done an immense amount of work in Haiti to assist after the earthquake. And the same thing is being done here in Dominica following Maria, with the rehabilitation of the schools and the rehabilitation of the homes. And then I had the opportunity to meet President Clinton again at the launch of the Clinton Global Initiative Action Network in Miami on April 3rd, where I was on stage with him to receive a certificate our commitment. Again, that was made, and our chairman, Dennis O'Brien, was there, our Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerritt, was there. And it was a great opportunity to meet. There had to be like maybe 400 different people that were there, and everybody was there because they wanted to make a difference in the world, and they wanted to help in the recovery of the countries that were impacted for Maria. And more importantly, they wanted to help in future responses as we continue to see the devastations that are caused and will continue to be caused by these natural disasters. So it's been absolutely phenomenal.
I don't want to put you on the spot too much, like I haven't already, but we're coming very close. It's like a few days before the season starts again.
The first named storm happened already.
Alberto was out there doing its thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel knowing that you're trying, here you are on your quest to fix all of what has happened, all of what Maria did, and you have a plan, of course, that, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other. How do you feel going into the new season? And if Dominica, God forbid, were to get hit again by another major hurricane, what is going through your head in terms of what are your plans as a company?
So the first thing is we learned from last year. Yeah. Last year was, I don't think anybody could have planned for that. Maria was one of the strongest hurricanes to ever pass through the Caribbean, and it had a number of different anomalies with it. However, we learned from that. A couple of things is, when you speak of resiliency, it's important to conceptualize what does resiliency mean. Yeah, and for me, one of the aspects of resiliency is how quickly can you recover after something has happened. So we're ensuring that we have systems in place to be able to recover quickly should our networks be impacted again, in terms of redundant communication methods and communication means. In addition to that, in recovering our network, we've recovered stronger than before. In rebuilding, we're rebuilding 21 of our towers. They are built stronger than they were before. The foundations are stronger. The designs are a different design. So you do the best you can to build back stronger. But Jay, let's be honest, Maria was swept 225 miles an hour wind, and they're saying that it's going to just get stronger and stronger as we keep going. So it's important for us to ensure that whatever happens, we have a plan for the backup plan, for the backup plan, for the backup plan. Because a lot of our plans that we had in place last year, as I'm sure a lot of people would agree, got changed when Maria did what she did, you know? So just ensuring you have those redundant solutions in place to be able to recover. So it's a scary season. They're expecting it to be 15 named storms, between 6 and 7 of them being major storms above Category 3. So I definitely ask everybody and urge everybody to start your preparations now. Do not wait for the ODM to send out a notification. Yeah, and then you go and get your lights and your batteries and these kind of different things. Take the time right now and put your plans in place. Have your documents in a safe place. You know what I mean? Have an extra charger. All those things that we have right now, ensure that they're kept safe. Your solar lights and those type of different things, ensure that you keep them safe so that you can utilize them again in times of emergency. But take the time and plan now.
Your passports, like.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, when you're talking about that, Jael, when I left my house, I left my passports here. Yeah, when I left here to go over there, I did, and I had a go bag. I had my go bag packed, right? And I left my passport. So when we left Morn Bruce and went to the office, and we were getting ready to send Clem out and Devontae out, Clem's like, I'm gonna go home. I'm like, yeah, if you see our travel documents, pick them up. I'm expecting them to be gone. I'm expecting my house to be devastated, and thankfully he found them. But even something as simple as that, your passports, your medical information, your medication, those kind of different things, put them in your go bag and have a go bag and have that safe place that you can go to and think about, where
my
you're
go
going.
bag, I think it was probably because of being on radio and hearing, every single day, like, different people sponsored my show. So every day I had to like give out the tips, things to do and stuff. And I had my passports and stuff in a Ziploc. It's still in a Ziploc bag to this day. Like, I'm in Canada and it's still in a Ziploc bag. I had everything in a Ziploc bag and like all the important documents and stuff, my insurance stuff, all of that was in the same bag. And I had that in another bag. And that bag was like in a place where I don't think anything could have because I was
absolutely it's important, it's important to just make sure, we may not be completely prepared, but we need to be as prepared as we can be. We don't know what these storms are going to bring. We don't know where they're going to go. We don't know a lot of different things, but definitely just be as prepared as you can be and take the lessons learned and actually apply them. Don't dismiss them. You know what I mean? Definitely apply them.
Don't make the same mistakes twice. Try and
absolutely
learn from what happened last year. Going back to mentorship, you being mentored, you've also mentored quite a few young people through the Dominica Youth and Junior Achievement. That's the Dominica Youth Trust. Sorry. What advice would you give to a young person who's probably hoping to start a business, but they're not really sure where to start?
First of all, start. Yeah. First of all, start. Yeah. Don't let anything deter you. Don't let anybody deter you from starting. But in terms of advice, the number one advice I would tell you if you're interested in starting a business, write it down. Write it down and share it with somebody you trust. Yeah. Because when you write it down and when you share it with somebody, you now become accountable to yourself for having written it down, and you become accountable to somebody else. Because too often we talk, but we're not held accountable. We don't have any action. Yeah. So find that person that will hold you accountable, and the next time you see them will ask you, so what happened to your idea? So what happened to this? What happened to that? Right? So that they can continue pushing you and driving you. But now is the perfect opportunity in Dominica to develop a business and start a business. A number of businesses have been impacted. Sam, when he started the YT Kubuli Entrepreneurs Levee, and just the other night I saw him and we were talking about it, had indicated that if we could start 10 new businesses a year, over the course of 10 years, there would have been 100 businesses developed in Dominica. That would drive the economic development of Dominica. And right now, you would know with the severe impact, 225% of our GDP and so on and so forth, it is absolutely imperative that there is some economic development and diversification and stimulation and so on. And it's young entrepreneurs that are going to propel that. It's not going to be the government. It's not going to be the established private sector. It's going to be the new young entrepreneurs with the innovative, dynamic thoughts and technologies and passion and creativity that are really going to get us there. So advice, start, write it down, and tell somebody that will hold you accountable. I'm not talking about your partner. I'm not talking about the chick. I'm talking about somebody that you trust, that has been there pushing you to be a better you. Tell them and ask them to hold you accountable so that they will constantly ask you and push you and drive you.
Okay, guys, we're gonna be wrapping up in just a little bit. If you have any questions for Nikima, I'm giving you a very short time span to do so, of course. If she can answer, she will. If she can't, we'll just keep it moving, and hopefully she'll get back on the chat and probably even communicate with some of you. I know she's that type of person, so she probably will. She'll probably try and answer every single question that comes at her on the chat. So you can feel free to drop your questions now. I want to know, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment?
My son, Devontae, he is such an amazing kid, and he's such an amazing kid, and his mom is a career mom. Yeah. And always has conflicting priorities, and he is okay with that, and he is proud of that, and he still gives me hugs and kisses, and he still tells me I'm the best mom in the whole world, and he is caring and loving, and when I look at him, I feel as if I've done something right. So regardless of what else goes wrong in the world, my kid's growing up well. So Devontae, hands down.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. What's next for Nikki? Because I mean, at your level, where else could you go? Probably take your boss's job. You know, what is next?
I
Nikki,
haven't.
Have any personal, professional goals?
I haven't. It's just been 1 year. Yeah, I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary as the CEO of Digicel, and there's still. Yes, thank you. And today is Digicel's 12th birthday. So happy birthday to Digicel.
Happy birthday to you. Was that
yeah.
a coincidence you do that you?
I know, right? Yeah, I planned it. You know, Jael, there's still a lot of work that I want to do here in Dominica. There's still a number of different things that I want to complete here. The team and I have pulled together what our 3-year vision looks like. We're 1 year into it, so we've got another 2 years to go. And I have every intention of completing that. So short term, over the next 2 years, I'm definitely going to be here. I do want to continue working with the Clinton Global Initiative and the Action Network to make a positive impact in the world as it relates to disaster recovery and response and those type of different things. So I'm still learning what my passions are. I definitely feel that's one of the areas I want to continue working with entrepreneurs, and I want to continue developing people. But I think I'm here for a little while longer, so I'm not going anywhere in the near future.
Wow, it's been a pleasure, Nikki. You know, I know you have a super, super busy schedule. I mean, you said it, you're a career mom, you're a boss lady, you're doing all these different things. You're like an octopus. You have your tentacles everywhere. And I'm really appreciative that you could take time out and speak with me here on Cacoa. And I'm sure like a lot of people probably wondered, who is this sneaky person behind Digicel? Where did she come from? You know, because you know how Dominicans are, you know, like she have an accent, where she come out, you know, like they probably didn't know you at GTA, but all of a sudden they know. Yes, you know. So she's an Italian, all right? For those of you who don't know what an Italian is, I joke about it all the time when people say, "Oh, what part of Dominica are you from?" I'm like, Vegas. Then I go, Vegas.
Oh, you must stop. You must stop this.
I must stop. Because to me sounds like Vegas converted his old house.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's nothing old about where we live, right? Or where we're from. So I'm like, I'm gonna make probably the most lavish place on earth, which is Vegas. I'm just gonna like Vegas. I'm in Vegas. But I say it so fast, it's like sometimes they catch the Vegas.
I have to try that. I think I enunciated a little too much, so I must try that.
I just let it roll off my tongue, Vegas, you know, and they're like, "What?" It's like so yeah. I really must say, you know, thank you so very much, Nikki, for being on here with me. I'm sure a few people got to see a different side of you, got to know a little bit about you, and I hope that you know, I wish you all the best. I mean, like, you're an amazing woman, you're an amazing mom, you're an amazing wife, you're an amazing friend, and I'm grateful to have you in my life. You know, even if we don't speak too often, but every now and again, when you send your hey, you good now? You know, I'm always so appreciative, and I'm very bad at staying in touch with people. So if I do message you, it's like because I'm thinking about you, and I'm really, really bad at staying in touch, because I will think about a new initiative before I can think about connecting with somebody. My mind is always going 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm grateful to always, you know, have you in my space, you know, in the sense that I could reach out and stuff. And even though, you know, I have someone who's always says to me, you know, you must talk to Nikki more. You know, you'll get some, you know, some good. Because sometimes I want to share stuff with people, but I'm not.
Who's telling you that? Okay. Okay.
The interview is you. I'm the interview, not the other way around.
Fine. Look, Jay, I'll be honest with you. My last trip up to Toronto, it meant so much to spend that time with you, to go out to lunch with you and Margot, and to just hang out at the house and stuff like that. I miss Toronto. I miss my life in Toronto. But I was extremely appreciative of the time we spent, and you braved the cold, braved the TTC to come out to me. But
But it
I'm
wasn't a bad day,
appreciative.
though. It wasn't a bad
No,
day.
it wasn't a bad day at all. Yeah, but I'm beyond appreciative, and I'm beyond thankful. And also thank you for this opportunity. I'm not a fan of public speaking. Yeah. But I'm very appreciative that you've given me the opportunity to, like you say, just let people know that I am human, and there are a whole bunch of different dynamics that go into who I am. And on any given day, you may get one, but that's not the whole. So thank you.
You're most welcome, and thanks for being on here. And guys, if you missed the show, of course, as I said before, you can always catch it again. It remains on my timeline. I'm sure a few folks have shared it. If you're looking right now, please hit the share button right now and share the interview. Tag a friend, tell a foe, tell somebody you know about Cacoa Tea, and let them know that they can also tune in. Don't forget to hit the share button. So if you're looking at us right now, hit the share button before you forget, right? And let somebody else know. And if you've completely missed the show and you're just coming on right now, you can always go back and listen. And the podcast will be available on iTunes, Castbox, and of course on my website in the next 24 hours. Nikki, thank you so very much, for coming on. Thanks to all the fans and friends who tuned in, and who tune in all the time. Like, there are a few hardcore people. They know themselves. Like, they lock in every single week that I'm on. They always come on. I'm really appreciative of every single one of you. If I don't get to say thank you, I'm saying thank you now. Thanks for supporting what I'm doing. I got a message from someone on Instagram 2 days ago, and she's like, "Oh my God, I must tell you, I really like what your little podcast thingy that you're doing, and you're doing it on Facebook." And but she said, "I don't understand how people like to copy people." So, and she's going, like, she's giving me like this whole spiel in the same thing, and I'm like, "It's okay, I lead and they follow," like, it's okay. I mean, I posted something about copying recently.
Yes, I saw it.
And somebody said something to me. I wanna probably pull up what the person said to me if I can find it. It's on Facebook, but it had to do with if people didn't copy, then the world will not go around. Something to that effect. Like people are obligated to copy.
That's almost like one of my favorite quotes. Okay, so on my desktop, right, I've got a bunch of pictures. That's my screensavers, and one of them is from House that says, "If nobody hates you, you're doing something wrong." Yeah. So it's the same thing. If somebody's not copying you, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. So when he sent that to me, and he says, don't let it bother you. It wasn't even like, it's funny enough. It's like, I was not even like ranting about the copying. I was just ranting about people not being authentic. It's like, yeah. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I do. I understand fully.
I'm not even too concerned about the copying, because you're gonna do something like somebody, like we all do it, whether it's our hairstyle or whether it's a pair of jeans we saw somebody wearing. I'm like, I like those jeans. I'm gonna buy those jeans. Like, we all do something that sort of copies someone. But I don't like when people are not authentic, and I'm just like, let us see a little in it, like, like,
let it go, Jay. Let it go.
It's been let go. But thank you so very much for being on it. Oh, Pearl just locked in. Pearl Fountain Butler just locked in right about now. And I'm really grateful, guys. Don't forget, all of her social media handles are above on the link. You can follow her on Instagram. She's on Facebook. She's tuning away. So you can follow. This is the most I've seen you on social media. Okay, CEO.
Yes, I have amped up my social media game. I have ramped up my social media game.
Yes, so you could definitely follow her. I can only imagine. I can only see bigger things for you, like your slogan. Is it still no? It's extra. What is it now? Extraordinary.
We are the best. That is point blank. Period. End of story. Digicel is the best. We need the slogan.
I remember you guys were the bigger, better network.
We still are, and we're still extraordinary, and we are still the best. Yeah.
So she's like her slogan, I guess. You know, I can only see bigger, better, best things for her in the future, and I'm really grateful to have you on here with me. Guys, next week we got some folks from they're gonna be some people who, oh gosh, I just drew a blank from the coffee. Okay, we have people who are geared into rebuilding and cleaning Dominica. So they call themselves, I think, the Salty Something people. They have a blog and they do this cleaning of the beaches and stuff. So they're gonna be on. I just actually booked them like literally like a few hours ago. And I was like, okay, let's do this, you know. So they're gonna be on next week, and gonna get all their information and posting that. So don't forget to like the page, follow. So we'll be posting all of that information, so you have a little idea as to what they're doing and why you should follow them. But they're all about cleaning the beaches and the rivers around Dominica. So I just wanna just let you guys know that you can tune in next week, same time, same place. Thanks, Nikki, again. You look lovely. I miss you.
Love you too. Love you too. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks to all those of you. Janice just came on. Everybody came on. Thanks, guys, for being on. Until next time. Before I go, don't forget to, the Cacoa tea. It always keeps your chest nice and warm, right? If you want to know how to make Cacoa tea, you need to go look at the Marbot Cup episode. Jamal Burnett, he tells you how to make Cacoa tea. So you can go and listen to that. Listen or view that episode. But just make sure you take a Cacoa. We're about to make some Cacoa tea. So gonna have some Cacoa tea, some more hot Cacoa tea. Keep your chest nice and warm every single day. It's also very good. It keeps you nice and full, so you don't eat as much. And I'm trying to, get back to my sexy self slowly. Until next time, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.